You're about to be live as soon as we do this.
Okay.
You still need help?
Just stay with it. Just make sure you walk wide around. Okay. We are live talking to my man, Jay Crook, who is the owner of the Play It Again Sports franchise in Kennesaw, Georgia. So it's Play It Again Sports Kennesaw. I got it right this time, the first time. Jay, how you doing today? I see people walking in and out of the store, so it looks like place is hopping. What you guys got going on down there?
Yeah, there's things going on, man.
Okay.
Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it, John.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Now
we've been busy. We've been unloading trucks, moving stuff around.
Okay. So that's what I like to hear. Means you got. That's what I like to hear. That means you got a bunch of stuff there for people to come in and buy. I know we were talking about. You were talking about some rowers that you have available. So you want to show the people the rowers that you have that you unloaded?
See if you can see them. I don't know. Tell me if you can see it a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, there they are. All right. I see some rowers right there. Now, let me ask you this. Sometimes when I go to Play Against Sports, you have equipment outside and then there's some equipment inside. How does something get like qualified to be outside to be the first thing somebody sees?
If it can handle getting rained on.
There we go.
These rowing machines, I just wheeled them out here so we could talk about them today. Otherwise, no, we would have them inside. You know, the bicycles, the kayaks, things like that, stand-up paddle boards, some, baseball training nets. Those are kind of what we put outside typically. But it was such a nice day. Unbelievable in sunny Kennesaw, Georgia.
There you go.
And I thought we'd come out and chat a little bit. I don't know if you can see me okay. I can barely see
yeah. I can see
so much sun.
All right, so I tell you what, one thing that I've been wondering about, because this is not intended to just be a commercial. I want this to be something that we can use to teach people. So like our last conversation, you were talking about how you could do so many different things with a power tower. And today I want to talk about how somebody can recognize the quality of a piece of used equipment versus, how they can judge the quality of one piece of used equipment versus another piece of used equipment. You can use those rowers you have there, or you can go inside and talk about, something else. So what are some things that you look for when you're trying to decide if something is high quality and it's a used piece of equipment?
So, yeah, everything that we sell has different qualities, and there's good, better, best qualities. And so those are the things that we look for too, to determine, what it should be priced at, how much we can, buy the item for. So pick a treadmill, for example. I don't know if you can see these.
Yeah, I can see them good.
So we have a variety of them, both used and new. But, the things that make a treadmill more expensive would be motors get bigger with each step. Let's see if you can get them in here.
Okay, so first of all, tell me what you mean by step. Pretend I don't know anything about treadmills. You said with each step. What does that mean?
All right. So as you work your way up the price ladder,
okay,
when you're looking at a treadmill, the motors will get bigger with each price jump. Okay. The frames get sturdier. So if you're walking on it, the thing's bouncing around and jiggling around, it's not the same experience as if something's solid. A bigger motor, what that'll do is that'll pull you along with less hesitation. I don't know if everybody's been on a treadmill at some point. They step on it, kind of bogs down a little bit.
Okay.
That's a disconcerting feeling, and it kind of, a little afraid you're going to tweak a knee or something. So, a bigger motor is going to pull you along with less hesitation. A sturdier frame is going to be less jiggly.
Okay.
The size of the rollers that the walking belt rolls around, the part you're walking on. So the rollers get bigger. So, a belt going over a larger surface doesn't have to work as hard compared to, winding out over real small rollers.
Gotcha.
The walking belt itself, just think about it like this. So an inexpensive treadmill maybe has a 1-ply walking belt. Next level up, we'll have a 2-ply belt. And
so it's thicker.
Kind of, but yeah, just multi-layers, and your commercial grade belts have multi-layer belts. So that buys you time because your feet track to the center of a treadmill. So you wear a bald spot in the deck. The deck is the sheet of wood that the walking belt glides across, and your heel strikes the deck, and both feet kind of track together. So you will wear a bald spot in the deck. The underside of the walking belt then starts to get worn. And then the motor, whatever size it is, has to work a little bit harder. And that's when you start to have problems. So the real important stuff are not the bells and whistles, because nowadays all treadmills have a lot of cool bells and whistles, the things that keep you interested. And hey, they're worth their weight in gold if that's what's going to get you on the unit. But when we're just talking quality, they can put an extra chip on a circuit board and add some speakers or a fan, and for $20, it's no big deal. But you're paying for the motor size, the frame. How much does it weigh? Does the frame weigh 150 pounds or does it weigh 300 pounds? It makes a difference when a grown person is trotting on the thing. Again, the deck will get thicker and maybe more dense. So it will buy time. It'll have a better paint coat on it, for lack of better terms. So the belt glides on there better. Okay. So these are things that drive quality. And we're just talking treadmills. So you could pick a weight bench or like power towers, like we talked last week. Those are a little easier to spot sometimes because, you give it the jiggle test and, just look at the gauge steel. Yeah. It's going to get bigger, heavier, sturdier as you work your way up the price ladder. The upholstery, instead of just kind of wrapped, thin, cheap upholstery that you could cut very easily, those get thicker, better upholsteries get, hand stitched, or not hand stitched, but, like multi-stitched and beaded around the seams. Okay. So lots of quality makes a big difference for sure.
Well, let's keep on talking about the treadmills, because while a lot of people who watch our channel are into lifting weights, we do have a fair amount of people who use treadmills, like typically for like wind sprints. So they may not be into like long jogs on the treadmill or long walking sessions on the treadmill, but they might use it like crank up the elevation and hit hill sprints on the treadmill, especially in the wintertime. And then I know guys who like to lift, and I was one of them. When my kids were really, really young, I couldn't go out for a run when I was, back when I was running. I was in the Marine Corps, and so I had to still run. So I couldn't go out for a run because my kids were in the house. Who's going to watch the kids? So I had a treadmill so I could run the treadmill. So if you're going to be doing that, what are some things that you're going to look for? Like, hey, maybe this is the treadmill I need because I know I'm going to be doing a lot of sprinting on it. Even if it's just 6 months out of the year, I'm doing a lot of sprinting on it. Am I looking for a bigger motor, especially if I'm a bigger guy? Or what are some things that I would look for?
Within the budget that you want to spend on your treadmill, yes. Bigger motor, sturdier frame, all of these things, error on the quality side. And that's a beauty. I mean, we do carry brand new equipment. We have these 3 treadmills here, and it's basically good, better, best. Between the 3, there's a $200 price jump with each step. And yeah, the motor gets bigger. You mentioned sprinting. The deck, the running deck gets longer. So it's an extra 5 inches. So you can have a really long gait and not worry about running off the back of it. Yeah. So a well-designed cockpit of the treadmill, especially if you're doing interval training, so you can just maybe hit a button and adjust your speed, get up to a sprint, and then instead of full sprint trying to hold the arrow button down, you can just hit a button and it'll bring you down to speed. You can catch your breath. Okay. And then crank it back up to another sprint. So yeah, that's where that sturdy frame comes into play too, because if you're sprinting and the thing's bouncing around, it's just not the same experience. Okay.
One thing that when I was doing sprints on my treadmill is I would do intervals like you're talking about, but it's more like Tabata. So I would do sprint for 40 out of every minute. I'm sprinting for 40 seconds and I'm resting for 20. So like not moving at all. And so I had to make sure that first of all, their handles, because it's hard. I don't know if anybody, if you've never tried to just stop sprinting on a treadmill, it's exciting if you've never done it the right way, right? So I would have to grab the handles and then split your feet apart. And so you have to have enough space on the sides to stand And you like, so you gotta have, and then you gotta have handles to lift yourself back up in the air, because you don't want to just step on the treadmill. You want to kind of like hop up in the air and land and start like a cartoon, right?
Well, that, it's a great point. And again, you want to be safe on these things. So they all have kill switches that you clip to your shirt in case you fall. So you're not, you'll get hurt. But the side rails on some treadmills are wider. So when you hop off and you throw your feet on there, you feel a little bit safer. It might be even pitched inward, have a slight angle, so you don't slip off the outside of it. So all these things are for the more serious user. Okay. Yes, there are treadmills, and we get them that are just very entry level, just a walking treadmill, no frills, and that's fine if that's where your needs are at the time. But fortunately enough, we get different things traded in and get some really high end, commercial grade pieces in here, and then supplement it with new on the items that we think are good values for the money. But the real deal is we have all different price points. We don't cater to real high end stuff. We don't cater to low end stuff or even middle of the road. It's just kind of whatever comes through the door, and then what we supplement it with. So there's usually something to fit somebody's needs, or about anybody's needs. But I'm glad you brought up quality, because it's exciting as you look around, and so many of these things do the exact same thing, but they might be thousands of dollars difference in the price. And on the surface, when you first look at it, it's hard to appreciate. But then you really delve down, and that's, I guess, the beauty, not just here. There's local fitness stores in the area, or those that are in it are good and use this stuff are going to be excited to dole out the advice that they might have learned the hard way. Okay. But multi-station gyms, they get nicer and heavier gauge steel, better pads, better upholstery, but you also get the biomechanics are better. So just put you in a better position. So you're doing the chest press, you actually feel it where you want to, rather than something with not a lot of adjustability. And it's like, man, I don't.
Do you have any multi-stations down there right now?
Oh, buddy. So
you're like, I'm glad you asked.
So this guy, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. This is a 4-stack hoist gym, maybe as nice of a multi-station gym as you can get in. We got this in yesterday. It's the H4400, and it was a project trying to find room for it in here, moving 20 things so we could make room for this monster. So, hey, big piece, but again, if that fits your needs at the time, what a great thing to use. So we have that, and we have this Paramount Fitness Center here, old school, but just a really good quality. And everybody loves this gym whenever we get one in. We've got a real sweet body solid gym. We've got an old school BMI on the other side of this Paramount, which, hey man, for the money, that doesn't have the adjustability and some of the things that modern gyms have, but old school push pull. If you bought a bench and weights, you'd spend as much as you would on that whole multi-station gym where you can push, pull, up, down, squat, knee raise. So super cool. And then we picked up a 2-stack body solid gym this morning. We haven't found the room yet here in the store, so it's in our trailer out back. But
what with the stack weight right there, let's talk about that for a little bit, because there are certain applications where somebody might say, well, look, I want to have one of those, especially something that's got like maybe of a pec deck, especially if somebody wants to do like more bodybuilding type training, or maybe they're older and they want some sort of multi-station, as opposed to getting a bunch of barbells and plates in. They like to get something like that. So just talk about like some of the differences, kind of like we did with the treadmill, some of the differences between one piece and the other in terms of price, because you guys sell stuff online, and we'll talk about that a little bit in a second. So somebody could be looking at the website and see this product online. How do they tell the difference between one multi-station and another as they're making the decision about whether to drive from, I don't know, Chicago to Kennesaw, Georgia to pick this up?
Well, luckily nowadays we have the great Google machine, and so you can pull up and look at things online. It's never the same as touching it, feeling it, pushing it through the exercises to feel how smooth it is.
Okay.
Because that's, again, it's a lot of like this gym here and this gym here, they do kind of the same things, but holy cow, that's so much smoother, better bearings, better biomechanics. It's just better. Heavier gauge steel, better upholstery, more adjustability.
Okay.
That may be the most important part in the whole equation, because when you work your way up the price ladder, say you're doing, a gym like this one here, it's got a seated chest press. So I sit there and just press out.
Okay.
Well, comparing it to maybe a more modern day gym, this back pad on a modern one will adjust, will pitch forward. The arm might pitch, the seat will adjust. So I can fine tune it to multi-users or husband, wife, a family, whatever, but also in the same space, you can do more exercises. So if I'm doing a chest press, I'm seated, pressing out. Well, if I pitch that back pad forward and bring the arms out forward, now I'm effectively pressing up.
So it
starts to work upper chest and incline chest. You pitch yourself forward more, and it's a trap workout. You're doing a shoulder press.
Okay.
And so those are important things to consider. Tough to tell online unless you really dissect it and study it and look at, how it's listed and how well it was put online. Because even with us, sometimes it's hard to get all these items on here and get all the information they need. So,
gotcha.
Those are the things. If you know enough on what to ask, you want to call whoever you're buying that from. So you could make the right purchase, make the perfect purchase.
Okay. So like one of the things that I do in person, if I'm buying a cable, any kind of cable machine that's used, is I'm looking at the cable itself to see if, are there wires sticking out? Is there any frays? Does it still have, some of those cable machines have like a little sleeve that goes over a little kind of plastic sleeve. I'm looking for stuff like that. What are some things that you look at when you're looking at a piece? Somebody brings something like that to you and says, hey, I want to trade this in. And you're like, well, all right, let me look at it to see if I want to take it or not.
Right. Well, listen, if these things are functional and if they work, we try our best to buy it. I almost think of it like a community service kind of thing.
Okay.
We want to buy your equipment from you, but we would just factor all of that stuff in to price it accordingly.
Okay.
So if something's got a certain amount of wear, the padding's a little ripped, if the cable sleeve is a little bit frayed, that doesn't mean you can't use it. Might not be quite as smooth.
Okay.
But those are the things we factor in when we price it, or try to anyway.
What would be a deal breaker? Somebody brings you a cable machine and you're like, man, I just can't take that.
It would have to be unusable.
Okay.
If it's usable, we try to buy it. If someone can take it home and effectively use it, it might not be up to my standards or your standards. But you know what? When I first got married and bought my first house, we got a home gym. It's not the gym I would buy now, but it fit my needs at the time. And I went to a local fitness store and they explained, just like we're doing, what to look for. And I could tell I wanted the really sweet one over on the other side of the store.
Yeah.
But my budget wouldn't allow it. So I got what I could at the time. I could still push, pull, and make the best of it, make a good workout out of it.
Okay.
The other things, the other gyms that are kind of worth considering, again, might not be for you or the next guy, but we're all different. We all go through different phases in our life and have different needs and space constraints, whatever. But those machines like a Bowflex, hey, you can knock it, but if that's all you had and you really wanted to get a good workout, I promise you could get a good workout because you can push, you can pull from any angle, any direction. And in a lot of ways, it's better in some ways because you're not fixed on a plane. It's very functional. And here you have this high-end gym couldn't be any sweeter. 4 weight stacks. And on the back side here is an adjustable cable column to, to replicate that, to make it a functional real life trainer. Because in real life, you bend over to pick up your briefcase. And so that's how you want to train, so you don't get injured when you're doing yard work.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Jay, like I said, people can go online if they would like to browse your store, whether they live in the Kennesaw, Georgia area or not. They can go online to browse your store. How can they check out your store online? And also, how can they reach out to you if they see something? They're like, hey, I just want to, or maybe they're watching this video and they're like, hey, I got a question about that red power rack in the back. I want to talk to Jay about that. How can they reach out to you?
Please. Yeah. You can call the store 770-429-8636. You can visit our website, playitagainsportskennesaw.com. You can, we have stuff posted on playitagainsports.com on our e-commerce site. So again, you could go to the search bar on that and just punch in the item you're looking for. And it might be our store, it might be another store, but you can start dialing it in. Say you're looking for a back hyper extension or something. To save the time, see if there's one relatively close by, then you can compare the different qualities or angles and pitches. And same deal, getting a chance, whether it's from us or your local fitness store in town. I mean, go try that stuff.
Okay.
I buy things online too. We sell stuff online, but it sure is nice if you can get on and try it, because everything, even the highest end pieces that you can buy, sometimes there's a flaw in it that you're like, oh, I love everything about it, but this one motion, I don't understand why they did it like this.
Gotcha.
So it depends what's important to you.
Awesome. Well, man, Jay, once again, I really appreciate you taking time out to educate us about buying used equipment, because obviously you're the expert on it. You bring in used equipment all the time. You've seen probably millions of pieces of used equipment in your lifetime, more than the average person. So I really appreciate your expertise. You guys definitely go check Jay out. If you are anywhere in Georgia, drive over to Kennesaw and go to Play It Again Sports Kennesaw. It's right there in Barrett Parkway in Town Center, Shopping Center. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, we're west of 75 in the beautiful Cobb Place Shopping Center behind Chuck E. Cheese.
There you go. So come on. If you're not in Georgia, visit Georgia. Go to the Georgia Aquarium, hang out. It's a nice place. And then go visit Jay at Play Again Sports Kennesaw and head home with some cool equipment in the back of your truck.
Thank you so much.
And we're doing this every Friday, so you guys don't miss the next one. See you next week, Jay.
All right, buddy. Take care.